Welcome to Instagram Growth and Engagement webinar, and we're going to be talking about everything that is working today. Algorithms keep changing, new features keep coming out, and it seems like our follower count and our engagement is kind of dropping. So we're going to be talking to our speaker today to find out what is working for her. So my name is Paola Mendez, and I am the founder of the Blogger Union. And the Blogger Union is all about, if you can switch the slide.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness.
No worries. So the Blogger Union is a network of blogger communities dedicated to growing our members' brands and incomes through meetups and workshops just like this one. And we have blogger communities all over the US. I run the one in the Miami area called the South Florida Bloggers, but we also have the DC bloggers, the Houston bloggers, and other communities around the US. So if you'd like to find out more about that, check out thebloggerunion.com. And my personal blog is Coral Gables Love, and you can check that out to see if you're interested about travel and fun stuff to do. Also, I usually follow back anybody who follows me within the time of the webinar. So make sure you follow me at Coral Gables Love. Okay, let me introduce you to our speaker today. Claudia Caminero is a lifestyle blogger, and she shares traveling tips, fashion tips, and clean products for living a clean lifestyle. And you can follow her at Up to Claudia on Instagram, and her blog is uptoclaudia.com if you'd like to find out more about her. Helping us today is Roxy Pham. She will be co-moderating with me today. She also has a lifestyle blog, and you can follow her at Chic and Lively. And that is our panel for today. Welcome, guys. How are you today?
We're all feeling great, right?
Yeah. That's wonderful. So before we get started, Claudia, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Claudia from Up to Claudia, and I started my blog about 4 years ago. Honestly, I had no clue about blogging, and, and I didn't even know it existed, funny enough. And the only reason why I started blogging is because I quit my 9-to-5 because of health. And my husband was like, all right, so what do you want to do with your time? I'm like, I don't know. So we Googled, what jobs can you do from home? And blogging came about, and here I am today, 4 years later. So when I started, I was mainly focused on my weight loss journey, and I see Noelle, she's also a Philly blogger. Nice to see her here too. I started with my weight loss journey, and then I transitioned more to the lifestyle because I realized that the one niche is very tough to keep, and we'll talk about that later. But anyway, so I'm here today, and I'm excited to answer all your questions, get really down to it, and tell you more about it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Clau. So let's just get started. First question, how do you bring value to your audience on Instagram and keep them interested, entertained, and engaged with your content?
All right, exactly to what I was saying, just was going to talk about is that I was just in that one niche, and having one niche and keeping that one niche is a little tough because people already want to see something different. So you you get exhausted of seeing the same thing, hear the same thing. And so you want to make sure that within that niche, you can cross over to something that they also like. Now, how do you know what they like? You can ask us some questions on the Instagram posts, which are really good. Instagram likes when you use their tools. So you want to make sure you ask them what do they want, because you're there for them. You're not only here to show off and do all those kind of things. You're here to bring value, to share things that you know, to show them things that you discover, to share with them things that they will find interesting. So make sure you ask those questions with polls and different things like that. So what I did was I started doing more fashion because you work out. Fashion has to do with workout a little bit, the outfits and things like that. And so that's how I slowly transitioned. And right now I am sharing the list about weight loss, but I'm coming back to it. And I notice my audience wants to see that because of COVID-19. So,
Okay, I think that's a great. That I think that's definitely key. How you say how when we start looking at Instagram and creating content for Instagram, you should really be thinking about how you can be of service to the people who are following you, because um, because that's how you can really keep them interested when you're helping people. So I think that is a great advice. Thank you, Claudia.
Or
The question that we have next is, what are some topics to speak about when getting on Instagram Live? How do you stay on top of bringing new and fresh ideas to your audience?
awesome. That's a very good question, because then you're like, what am I going to talk about? They say, go on Instagram Live and do what? Dance? You could dance if you like to dance. But what you want to make sure is that it has to do with what you usually talk about, right? Because that's what your audience is expecting. They're expecting to see more of what you usually do, but not edited, very raw, just openly up there, right? So again, I've been live twice, and I did a workout class with a fellow blogger, and we try to combine audiences. Now that's good for two things. One, you keep the audience engaged. Two, you cross over the audience, because you want to help each other, and you want to, show your audience someone different, not just yourself, and so do the same thing on the other way around. So topics wise, make sure you stay within your niche. And if you're not, make sure you let them know, because then they're going to be like, oh, why is she talking about this? I'm not interested. Bye. But if they know you're going to talk about it, then they're going to be like, okay, I'm ready for it. I want to find out.
Oh, I love that, doing a crossover with another account. Now, can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with the idea that worked for both of you guys, and how you found the right partner for that crossover?
Of course. So funny enough, the girl turned out to be the daughter of my neighbor, which I know. And she reached out to me saying, oh, Claudia, I would like to maybe do something with you. She wasn't sure because she was new to Instagram. So we kind of both threw ideas in it. And then with that, we also had a giveaway, because funny enough, within that same time, Fabletics had reached out that they wanted to do a giveaway. So the girl is about workout, Fabletics is workout clothes, and I have lifestyle. So it's all came together into this awesome event. We did 2 weeks doing 3 live classes online. So we had a schedule, and then we had a giveaway. And to keep people engaged into doing the workout, we will give a secret word to increase your chances on the giveaway.
Oh, no way.
And she came up with that. So again, you want to make sure you throw ideas in, because I don't know everything. She doesn't know everything. So see what works. And it turned out to be a really good giveaway. People were happy. People were excited, get something for free. Why not?
That's awesome. Also, you mentioned that you guys had a schedule. So how are you guys promoting the upcoming lives to make sure that they got a good audience?
So what we did was ahead of like a day before, hey, Miss Amores, reminder, tomorrow we are live at 9 a.m. Make sure you're there. So kind of bringing that excitement. I had it on my blog. I had it on my Facebook. So again, that's something super important. Instagram is not the last Coke on the desert. You have to spread out. You got to bring audiences from all over. Honestly, the traffic I get on my blog is mainly from Pinterest. I barely use Pinterest, but it comes from there. So I want to make sure that I am everywhere.
Oh, okay, that's great. So you used other channels to promote your upcoming IG Live. Oh, that's good to know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about growing your followers on Instagram with not just bot followers or bots, or people who are not interested in what you're talking about, but with genuine audience that it cares about your niche and will engage with your content. Do you have any tips and tricks for us?
All right, so let's see. I've been doing this for years, okay? I've seen it all, I hear it all. So right now, what works the most is giveaways. And I know you're gonna say, oh, I did a giveaway, only 5 people participated, it doesn't work. So this is one thing. First of all, if your family or friends are not the first one to participate, then you gotta find that people that's gonna support you. And you gotta be that bothered person, okay? You gotta be like, oh, hey, friend, can you do this for me? Because you need that support. You need that, like, knowing that the first people are gonna support you. And again, they're gonna tag real people, not just tag someone they don't even know just to maybe win, okay? Mm-hmm. Then secondly, there's also companies that pile bloggers together. right? Let's say 10 bloggers, each put $100, and then they give out an iPad. Who doesn't want to win an iPad, right? So you're gonna get those people to follow you. Now the problem with the giveaway is once the giveaway is over, they're gonna leave. So then bye-bye, you lost your $100 and you lost the followers that you gained. Now, how do you retain those followers that came? They came because of the giveaway, all right? Now, if they're giving out something like makeup, and so they're girly and they're interested in makeup. So on the time of the giveaway, you want to make sure that maybe you're sharing makeup tips, maybe you're sharing hacks, maybe you're sharing things that work for you. I mean, we all have different skin tones, and we all have different things. So you can be like, oh, for blemish skin or whatever. So what am I trying to say with that? I don't want to get out of subject. Is that if you are going to participate in a giveaway to grow your audience, you want to make sure that your content, at least within that time frame, is relatable to the giveaway, so that they don't leave when they don't win.
Oh,
that's a really good point.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Roxy. That's a really good point, because a lot of people have complained that, yeah, I participate in loop giveaways for those kinds of things, and I gain followers, but then either they just unfollow, or they stay on and they don't engage with my content, and then they end up hurting my engagement numbers. So yes, that's brilliant. So I think also a key thing that you mentioned there is, okay, if you're going to do a giveaway, I think making sure that your giveaway is aligned with the content that you are already doing. So, so if you don't talk about weight loss at all, and it's like you're going to get do a giveaway for like a weight loss program or something like that, that might not be a good fit. So I think that's a really great point. Thank you, Clam.
And one more thing, if you are a small account and any size, I mean, like anything under 10,000, let's say, right? So you don't have that swipe up yet and all those kind of features, right? If you're not there yet, please do not participate in those huge giveaways. They're only going to hurt your engagement. You want to make sure that the giveaway is maybe 2,000 people max, right? Because then you want to engage with them. If they follow you, like, oh my God, thank you so much for following me. It means a lot. I hope you will like my content. I would love to hear what you want to see, right? So, and not to everyone, because that can be tiresome, but to the people that you see that don't have a private account, so you don't have to follow back and all of that, right? So you want to see who you can engage with. But don't do crazy giveaways, and don't trust all those DMs you get either, okay?
That's great. Actually, something that you mentioned earlier, that when you started your giveaways, that you at the beginning, your giveaways only really had your family members, but that was a good thing because they were tagging other real people to participate in the giveaway.
Yeah, because they really care. Like, honestly, in one of the giveaways I did, I've done two that are just for my page, for my fans, right? And a lot of the people are my mom's friends from work. And who do they tag? Their kids, their siblings, their nieces and nephews, which are on my target audience, which are more likely to stay because they know someone, right? So that's something that you want to keep close, if it makes sense.
Okay, perfect. I think that's such a good point, because sometimes we're like, oh, it's only my cousin that follows me, and you get disheartened. But that's how you get started, right? So that's brilliant. Thank you.
That's with the family, and sometimes the family might not support you, which is not a fun thing because they might get tired of you, right? But I guess So what do? Then you go to your fellow bloggers. So you want to make sure you have somewhat of a community that your picture will come up, they will come and engage, and then Instagram's like, oh, look, this is getting engagement. Let me show it to other people.
Okay, love it.
Yes, and that was something that was so necessary for you to address to Claudia, because I feel like every time when we post like consistently, they could get tired, and so that's really good to have like a support system. I definitely agree. The next question is, how do you get on the Explorer page? What are some hashtag strategies for optimal reach? Do you have any like resources with websites, or what do you find helpful with hashtags?
All right, so I've tried looking up on Google. I love Google. So I've been trying to find like websites that I can find good hashtags. And I just feel like they're popular hashtags. And so they're full already. It's like my picture is going nowhere. I'm not even going to bother. So even if you do a makeup tutorial, hashtag makeup tutorial is going to have a ton of videos, right? And it's going to be tough for you to get on the explore page. So maybe you can try something a little more niche. It can be a product that you're using that just came out. So people want to find out like, what are the results with this product? And you're more likely to be on the explore page because again, there's not that much like saturation under that one only hashtag. So that will be something. So I don't have an app that I can tell you I use this app. I honestly just go by what I really think relates to my video and try to find hashtags that are not overly saturated.
Do you use the full 30 hashtags or do you use like about 27, 28 hashtags?
Yeah, I don't try to go over 30 because sometimes Instagram will think it's spam if you put too many, like 45 or something. Sometimes they might not show your picture anywhere and they might delete the caption. So then you have to write it all over again and you don't want to do it.
That's right. That is so annoying. If you go over your amount of hashtags, it just deletes your entire caption. So, okay, that's great. How about when you're, okay, so you say you want one that's not very saturated. Do you have like because when you start looking for a hashtag in your app, in the Instagram, it'll give you the number of times that hashtag has been used. So do you have a number range that you look for when you're, or maybe you have a mix? Sometimes you like to use a few that are millions and.
Exactly. So I'm going to keep it about, what can I say? I would say like 30, 30, 10, right? So 30% are under 500,000. Then the other 30% are the smaller, like maybe 100,000, 150, 100,000. And then I'm gonna do 30 of the saturated ones because first of all, I wanna be found by brands, okay? And they can find me, like hashtag Philly bloggers. There's a ton of Philly bloggers, hashtag Miami bloggers, right? But I wanna be there, okay? Either or recent or somewhere, but I want brands to find me. So I'm gonna use those saturated ones. And then the rest is just gonna be local hashtags. So if I am in Philly, Philly's big, but if I'm in the center of the city, then it's gonna be center city. If I am in the suburbs, like some Lancaster or something like that, I'm gonna use that so I can also connect with my local people.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, okay. And so when you're also trying to come up with what hashtags to use, I like how you mentioned how there's like broader hashtags, like the state hashtag versus the neighborhood that you're in. Mm-hmm. Can you also tell us a little bit of like, is that also that you do about 30% broad, 30%, and then like 10% varies? What would be the 10%, the broad ones or the specific?
So the 10% is gonna be the really, really small ones.
The really small ones.
Yeah, like really, really small. Like I don't wanna keep it too broad, but I also don't wanna like put the hashtags that barely anyone is that, you know, so I just keep those, you know, just in case, just, you know, keep them on the side, but not that many because you only have 30, right? So.
That's right. Okay, perfect. Alrighty, so now we're going to talk about getting our content the best organic reach possible, right? So we've been hearing about this thing that the algorithm will prioritize content that gets lots of engagement when it's recently posted. Let's just say like the first 15 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So do you use that when you post? Do you do anything to try to get more engagement on your content when you very first post?
All right, so, you know, I'm gonna focus on this one, on the stories, because I realized this recently, and this is like my, oh my God moment, okay? All right, listen to this. So let's say I do a sponsor post, right? And sponsor posts might not get the most engagement because people, here she goes with an ad, she's getting paid for it. I don't know if I really trust it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but I needed to do good because this is why the brand is paying me, right? So people see it and engage with it. So what I noticed is within at least an hour, the max, right? If people are not touching those tabs and swiping up, it's gonna go nowhere. Like, and I really did it. Like I tried it. Okay. So we all have, and I don't know if you guys do have engagement groups, right? Like, you know, like local bloggers that you support each other, you like each other's picture, you comment, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, we have somewhat ignored the stories, and the stories are super important. So what you want to do is you want to alert them like, oh, hey girls, today I'm going to be putting an ad. I would love your support, and make sure if you can just tab, okay? I'm going to put it at 3 o'clock. So please do it around that time. So you're letting them know because you want at least somebody, I don't know, 20 people, a certain amount to go and engage right away with it. And then what I noticed is that after, let's say I go check an hour later, I'm like, oh, check that out. More people are touching it. And what I think it is that Instagram realized that they want to show it to more people, but they also incentivize you to tap on that tag because they're seeing that people are engaging with that tab. Like at Coral Gables Loves, for example, like if a lot of people are touching it, they must think, oh, there's something interesting there. So Instagram might say like, oh, tap here. Have you seen that when they tell you that? And like, okay, Instagram might know how to do that, but they tell you to go do something.
So you're talking about so let's say you have a post on the feed that's a sponsored post.
I was referring to the stories.
Okay, so I was thinking you maybe shared that post in the stories.
You can do that too, and that's something else too. That's something that you want to make sure you do, because a lot of people might not necessarily be scrolling on the feed. They might just be watching stories, and they might not have realized you have a picture that's new. And what a lot of us bloggers do, we put like new posts and like where it's not very seen, or and so with that being said, is that if you have a new post, there has to be something important on that post that people are going to leave the stories to go see that post. So it can be an open-ended question. It can be a secret. It can be something you find out. It can be a sale, but something that's going to make me go, oh, let me go see what this is about.
Okay, perfect. But no, so then I want to really understand the tip that you're giving us about getting higher engagement in stories. Yes. You're talking about people tapping the story to pause it?
No, so who you tag.
Oh, tagging.
So, yeah, so let's say I did my makeup and I tag, I don't know, Rite Aid or something, Walgreens. Let's say I tag Walgreens, okay?
Okay.
So you want to make sure that people are tapping at Walgreens, that will make them go to Walgreens page. Or doing kind of engagement, either responding or interacting like the emojis or a GIF, something that's telling Instagram that people are enjoying this, that people want to see this.
Okay, perfect. So you want them to, with whatever story it is, you're going to ask your supportive friends to engage with it in some way in your stories, whether it's following through the person you tagged in your story, or responding a DM, or swiping up, or whatever.
Because that's going to make Instagram show it to more people and make somehow, I don't know how, but they incentivize people to do the same thing. Because I look at the numbers and I will have 200 more tabs. I'm like, why? How? It's the same audience I have. Like, but I don't know what they do, but it works. Try it.
It works. They put a little pop-up that says, oh, okay, that's really interesting. Okay. Okay, great. So
the next one that we have is about encouraging engagement on captions and getting people to like your post on the feed. So Claudia, just how you were saying earlier about the stories to get people to hit the tap like right away or respond with an emoji reaction, how do you get that on the feed? Like, what do you do, or what do you say in your caption?
To be honest with you, right now, at least for the past month and a half, Instagram algorithm has been changing a lot. It's been tough to reach a certain number of engagement, right? And it's either because of the election or some events happening that Instagram is more worried about. And let's be honest, Instagram is a business. They have to make money. I mean, they're not here just to drink tea, okay? All right. So how are they making money? They're making money by making us pay for ads so that more people see us, okay? Now, I know you don't want to spend money, but sadly, that's like one of the easiest way to reach engagement. And I noticed that with different posts, like because I'm Spanish, I do two things. I share my posts on Latin America, because I sometimes put my caption in Spanish, and also my surrounding or places I've been or things that are relatable to my caption. So you can spend $1 and you might get a reach of 300 more people, okay? You just have to be strategic, and I can talk about that later, on what location and what interest you put under that. Okay. And again, you don't have to post every day. Okay. I know content is king, consistency is king, blah, blah. But in the end, if you're going to share things that people are tired of and that you're not getting that engagement, then you might as well put every other day and spend $1 on it and get Instagram to push your picture to be seen by other people who might follow you. So that's one thing that I have to do, because I feel like I get nowhere. Sure, I can engage with the hashtags I'm gonna use like half an hour before and maybe get some people to come back and do something on my page, but it's a lot of work. So if you can spend maybe $5 a week, or I don't know, maybe a month, I don't know, give yourself a budget, Instagram is gonna help you back.
So you said, like, is this through Facebook ads? You go through the Facebook ad manager?
No, I do it on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
and you mentioned something that was super helpful about different interests. So where do you find that?
So luckily, Instagram cares enough to make it easy for us. So when you hit promote, and you can take your phone right now, if you hit promote on a post, it's gonna guide you through it. And they're gonna say location. Now, don't choose people like the people that are following you, because that doesn't work for me. Just choose everything you're on. Don't let them decide for you. Neither on the budget either, because they want you to spend a lot. You don't want to do that. So what do? You want to put a picture, okay? Right after you put it, be ready. If you're gonna put a dollar or something on it, okay, you're gonna hit promote. Then it's gonna ask you for a location. So depending on what the picture is, you're gonna choose the location. So if the picture is about vacation and it's warm where you are, let's say you're in Florida and it's about vacation or a staycation, you wanna promote it maybe in the north, where it's cold, gritty, and nobody wants to be there. So people are gonna be like, oh, you know, a day in the beach sounds good. I like this picture. And maybe comment. I don't know if you see what I mean.
Yes, definitely. Makes sense.
But if you don't want to spend money, then stick to your support groups. Stick to engaging under the location. So if you do Miami or Coral Gables, then engage with pictures there. Make sure you engage with the hashtags. Make sure you answer right away to the comments and things like that.
Okay, perfect. Because Titan exactly was in the chat asking what about organic reach?
Organic reach. There you go. Organic reach, right?
To be able to get that, then you have to put in the muscle work, or really your thumb work, engaging with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Right. So if you were to do that organically, would you do that right before your post or right after you post?
Honestly, I only promote the paid pictures because I want them to have a bigger reach, because the brand is paying me, so I want to make sure I do right by them. Now with my organic pictures, if it's a fashion picture or whichever, just make sure you engage before the hashtag, at least 10 minutes, because then people will be like, oh, who is this person liking my stuff? Then they will go to you and they might return the favor, and then they might become your follower, your friend. So it's a sense of community. And one thing too, Instagram algorithm right now, it's all about who you're engaging with. So if it's random people that you found on Instagram and they comment on you, make sure you're like, oh, thank you for commenting. I'm glad you like this post. Because you want to make it personable. You want to like connect with them so that Instagram will show it to them again.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Hope it helps.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's also a good rule to start setting on yourself, that anybody who comments on your photos, that you should go and visit their profile and try to comment back. Because if you just do that as a general rule, you'll start building like that little community of people who support you and you support them. And then that will, in the long term, not only help your engagement, but it'll build like a little support group where, you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, and it's an organic friendship, because they see that you care about them and then you care about you. And even if they don't post, they will be like, oh, I really like this person. Like, they're gonna connect.
Exactly, right. And then you can make your Insta friends.
Yes.
Okay, lovely. So we talked a little bit about those were some strategies for engagement in your Instagram post, is there any special advice if you're trying to get the same type of engagement but in reels or stories, or you think it's the same thing?
So the good thing is that Instagram is coming up with new things, right? Again, they're a business. They had competition like TikTok, like YouTube, and so on. So they created something like it for their page. So it is known that right now reels are the thing, right? So you want to create reels because that's what Instagram wants you to do. So you want to follow the trend when it comes to that, right? You want to be on the first ones to create a bunch of reels that are maybe just like TikTok, and maybe transfer that content and go from there. Because the good thing is that people are used to Instagram and they might not necessarily want to deal with TikTok anymore. You know what I mean? Like with Snapchat, I don't use Snapchat anymore since the stories came out. So that's what Instagram wants, and that's what we're gonna give them. Content.
Okay, perfect.
And Claudia, how do you get people to save or bookmark your post? So I know that like with sharing posts and saving and liking it, it increases a lot of engagement. So how do you get people to share and bookmark?
All right. So to that, there has to be some kind of value besides just a pretty picture. Okay. So it can either be on the caption, it can be an advice, or it can be a carousel and there's information within. Because like me, I care a lot on how my feed looks. So I might not want to put a picture that just says drink water, right? But I will put it on the second picture. And if it's an advice or something you can learn from, then people are going to share it. Sure, you can share the outfits and fashion and things like that. But I think if you at least verbalize something, is something that you can read and feel like, oh my God, I learned something, or my friend might learn something from this, or something of pure value, that's going to help. Even if it's a quote, motivation quote, something.
That's right. That's great advice. I find that anything that I post on Instagram, that's any type of guide or recipe, anything that they want to come back to, it gets way more bookmarks than my other content. So thank you.
Right.
So let's see. Okay, let's talk about our bio. So our Instagram bio is really important because whenever someone is considering following you, it's the first thing that they read to decide, should I follow this person? Do you have any advice for us if we're trying to figure out what to write in our bio to attract the right audience?
Yeah, first of all, use emojis. Make it interesting, make it visually fun, because a whole bunch of letters is like, okay, another diary. No, make it short, make it clean, add a few emojis that might core a whole phrase for you, right? And then also, this is gonna be for the bloggers that are influencers that wanna get campaigns. Always, always, always have your email in your bio. Because when brands are looking for you, they're not on their phone like, oh, look at her. No, they're on their computer, and on the computer, you can see the email. So that's something that you want to make sure you have in your bio. Also, make sure you share either where you're from or where you're based, because that's a connection point. So in the bio, you want to have your name or something that's memorable. Then you want to have your location, where you're based or where you're from, something that people can relate to. Then you want to have what you do, what do you share about, your email, like I said, and then maybe something cute or silly or fun or something like that.
I love it. And I think the location also is super important, not only because it's a connection with your potential audience, but brands, when they're looking to work with influencers, they need to know if they are in a specific location. They're usually trying to find influencers, and it's usually tied to a geographic location. So I talked to so many brand representatives. It's their number one pet peeve. They're like, if you make it hard for me to find out where you're from, I'm not going to choose you for the campaign.
Next, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that is so helpful. Thank you so much, Claudia.
Any way I can help.
Yes. Where do you go to retrieve your Instagram analytics besides the Instagram app itself? Do you like go somewhere else on a third-party app to look at your analytics, or how do you go about that?
All right, so I mainly focus on what Instagram's telling me, right? Because that's the app. But then what I like to do always is on the influencer platforms. For those of you that are influencers, there are always a lot of platforms read these analytics, okay? And that's what they're sharing with brands. Now, that's what I go and see because let's say if a company hires me, it was based on that, right? So I want to make sure that I either can increase something or like maybe the age range, right? Or things like that. That's also somewhere that you want to look into it, not only on the app, but on the influencer platforms.
What platforms are they? Can you please share with us some?
Yeah, of course. My favorite ones, my top 3, Aspire IQ. I can write it on the chat if you like. Well, Aspire IQ.
I got
It's okay. I can.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Then Activate Social. That's a really good one too. So that's like where I found one of my first campaigns too. Activate Social. Oh, and a really good one that recently found me, I guess. It's Takumi. So Takumi, Takumi. And I found, and there, it's not so much about finding the analytics, but I noticed that a lot of the brand representatives are there. So if you're looking for that, that's a good place. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So let's talk about a little bit about maybe negative experiences that you had in Instagram when you live in the social media world. Sometimes it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Can you tell us how you navigated one of those negative experiences?
So to be honest with you, I consider myself a very happy person. And I think what you want to do is make it a joke, right? Don't take yourself too serious. Don't take them serious. Just make it a joke. And funny enough, that gets you engagement. One time, this girl was like, "Oh, you wore that outfit yesterday." And I was like, "Yeah, but I really like it." Like, okay, like, and I don't think she was being mean because she's always liked my stuff, but she said it more like, "Oh, you wore that outfit yesterday. You're a public figure. You want to like show different things, right?" And so I took a screenshot. I covered her face and her name, and I just shared it on the stories, right? Like, oh, guys, it's not always, cute and sunshine, right? You get those kind of people like, oh my God, how could they say that to you? This and this and this and that. So again, it's something people can relate to because haters are gonna be there, and not haters, but people that say things that don't sound too nice. And so just take it as a joke. You're like, oh my God, look what they say to me. You know what I mean? Like, just enjoy it. Don't take it serious. This is not. This is for fun, I think, not to take it serious.
I love that. Yes, I think, not giving them as much as attention because that's what they're looking for is, it's good advice. Thank you.
So for someone like me who is a very private person, how would you separate that fine line between staying safe, respecting your privacy, and also not sharing too much about your personal life while also being relatable and authentic?
That's a really good question. And what I personally do, I never share things when they actually happen. It's like I'll be like, oh, I just landed in Florida. I was already there 2 days ago anyway. So you're sharing about it. You're not lying about it, but you also have to have your privacy because you don't know who's out there doing what.
Yeah.
So in the end, and what I do too is I tell my followers too, like I'm gonna be going to Florida. I don't tell them when, so they're expecting it. Or I'm gonna eat at this place, and then maybe tomorrow I share the edited pictures, and it's because I wanted to show them cute pictures, not just like, oh, here, like all sweaty cups and like a mess in the table. No. So that's what you want to do. Like you want to inform them so you seem authentic and real, but you also don't want to like oversay and like be like, certain things don't matter, okay? Certain things are for privacy, certain things you keep to yourself, to your family, and people don't need to know.
That is definitely true. And also whatever, some people are introverts and some people are extroverts. So it really depends on how comfortable you are, how much you want to share. But I think that delay mode that Melanie Velez was mentioning, #delay mode, about not sharing real time what you're doing is good to keep yourself safe because you never know who's out there. And especially if you have children, you don't want to share where you guys are in real time. And you don't, you also want to be careful about like certain things, maybe not showing your address, or if your kids go to school, you don't want to show, what school your kids go to and stuff like that, just to stay safe.
Actually, Paula, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I like a lot of my even influencer friends of mine. I'm like, oh my God, I can see your address. Like I literally screenshot it and send it to her. I'm like, I know your address now. Like, don't do this. Like if you're doing an unboxing, show the box that doesn't have the address, or don't never, ever in your life. You're not gonna, if you're trying to get a job and for them to send you things, that's not the way. Okay, don't show your address.
Yes, that's right. Or scratch it out if you don't want to take the label off. That is perfect. Okay, so I think this will be our last question, and then we can open it up in case any of you guys have questions for Claudia to answer for us. What are some tips that you use to stay inspired and excited about posting on your social media channels?
Oh boy, especially like when the whole COVID hit, people are like, I don't want to post, I don't want to do this, I'm tired, it doesn't matter. Don't stop. So remind yourself why you started, okay? And I know this sounds easy, but remind yourself why you started, and always go back to those messages that people wrote to you, like, oh, you're such a happy person, I really love your smile and I enjoy seeing you. Like always read those. I always screenshot them, and then when I'm feeling blue or not feeling in the mood to post, like I'm tired, I'm like, oh, this is so sweet, you know what, let me do something for you. So that I think that's something that helps me, is just those positive reactions from people. Yeah.
That is actually brilliant, because that's a great, I'm going to start doing that, because not only that, but it helps you not just focus on the bad, because you could have 100 people tell you, thank you so much, I used this, it was so helpful. And then one person says one bad thing, and then that's all you see, the one bad comment. So I'm going to start a little album of like positive reinforcement.
Because this is coming from people that follow you, not even from like motivational posts. This is like real people telling you these great things. So use them,
Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you, Clau. Alrighty, guys. Well, that was our final question. So if any of you have a question, you feel free to share it in the chat and we will take them from there. But I saw Darlene posted a question as we were going, and she was asked, do you always tag yourself in your posts?
Yes. I do it for many reasons. Not only do I tag myself, but I always tag relatable brands. I tag the locations. I tag as much things as I can, because those people that I'm tagging, they have followers. And a lot of the times they go to see who's tagging them. And ta-da, there I'll come up and my tag will come out there. And also because if you go on your page and then you go on like who has tagged you, and then you don't have any tags, you're like, oh, that doesn't look too cute. So let me tag myself.
That's awesome. I actually had a little bit of the opposite problem, because people, my tag is so geographic specific that they think I am the official city of Coral Gables, and they were tagging me in all kinds of things. So now I select certain posts to be like, yeah, you can show up in my tagged page.
Yeah.
But okay, Noelle here is asking, how long does it take for you to write an Instagram post, both in Spanish and English?
All right. Honestly, I know Spanish very well. I was born in I know Spanish, but I use Google Translator. Honestly, I don't have any time to try to figure this out. I'll tell you why. I'm not being lazy or anything, okay? It's not that. But sometimes I don't remember if something is missing, the accent on the last A. I don't have that ñ, or I don't know how to Google Translate, make sure it sounds right, because sometimes Google makes it sound silly, but make sure it sounds right, copy, paste, you're done.
That's awesome. Keep it simple. Okay. Sael is asking, do you have any tips for creating content by yourself?
Oh, hello, tripod time. I love my tripod. My husband helps me a lot with doing pictures, and sometimes I don't want to bother him, so I just take my tripod. If you don't have a camera, like a DSLR, like a professional camera, just with your phone, you can do the timer. You can get a Bluetooth button for like $10 with the tripod on Amazon. So, just do your thing. And again, when you do so, right, make sure to clean the camera, okay? Make sure to, clean the back, clean the front, because then you're like, oh, my phone doesn't take cute pictures. It does. Just clean it and be in front of the light. You'll be fine. Trust me.
I love that, Jess. It's just that you have a smudge on your camera. So that's awesome. And I'm glad that you mentioned the tripod because our next webinar is November 10th. And it's exactly, Shelby is going to be teaching us how to use the tripod to take pictures of ourselves. So there you go. Sign up for that one, guys.
You guys sign up. I bet you're going to love it.
Thank you. Melanie is asking, how many posts or stories do you recommend we share every day?
So stories wise, if you're just like feeling cute and then you just want to like talk a lot, you can do that. That's fine, but don't do it every day, right? Because even myself, okay, even when I see my friends, I'm like, oh no, wait a minute. I see a lot of dads over there. What are they talking about? Because listen, Instagram is entertainment, right? You want to have fun on it. So if you're that person entertaining, you want to at least after like 3 or 4 stories talk about something else. Unless it's like a try on haul, you know what I mean? But like don't go 15 stories talking about the same thing, okay? Like try to break it down. Try like if you do in the morning, take a little break, then do the afternoon, and then you know what I mean? Just don't go like, oh, I broke my nail and my nail broke and blah blah. It's like, okay, we get it. Like, like pace yourself. And with the post, I post daily if I have the content, and I'm really bad at like, I know you should schedule, and I'm really bad at it. It's like, what do I feel like? What is people looking for right now? What are they interested on? That's what I go off. But you can do twice a day, but don't go too many times, unless it's something different. So if you're putting a recipe and then putting an outfit and then putting a vacation, sure. But not the same thing like that, because then they're like, oh my God, again, she's talking about that. Like, you know what I mean? People can get bored quickly. And think of yourself, okay? Think, how do I think about when I see people's stuff? Like, that's what because people think like you too.
Of course, yes. I also feel that if there's too many little dots, it's like, do I want to get invested in this story? So that's perfect. Wonderful. Morgan is asking, how long did it take for you to figure out the overall look or aesthetic of your page?
Oh, that's a fun question. When I started and I was in this like super cute feed, very organized and like neat and certain orange or whatever color, I was like, oh, I want mine to be like that. So I did buy the filters and I didn't like it because it wasn't for me. Okay. So it depends. If you're a person that likes to do filters, right? Like what do they call it? Preset. Okay. And you want everything to look white, then okay, go for it, try it, okay? But if you're not and it's very tough for you, don't waste time on it. Just go with the natural color, because honestly, if you're shooting to be an influencer, brands want their product to stand out and be the color they are. Because one of the things they always say is don't change the color of the product, because they know these presets is gonna make the blue purple, and they're like, that's not how my product looks, I don't like it. So make sure you stay at least the closest to what things are for real, okay? And if not, put it on the second slide. But brands, at least from the brand's perspective, they want to see how things are.
Oh, that's great. You know what, Clau? This is the first time I hear that tip. So I'm so glad. If you tuned in, guys, I've been, yay! Do not change the colors of brands' products. They don't like it. No. Wonderful.
They want to repurpose it.
Right.
They put it on their feed, so.
Of course, yeah. So Miami Gardens now is asking, do you know what analytics brands are looking for? Or is it impressions or reach, or have you had any experience with that?
So mainly brands, they don't really care much right now about the likes, okay? Because likes is like, okay, whatever. They want the real stuff, because it's more important for someone to see it than to like it. So they're mainly looking for reach and impressions. And of course, they click to rate. So when it comes to, like she asked for brands, so let's say it's a sponsor post, they want to see how many clicked on that link on your bio, okay? They want to see how many people did it reach. So you may have 1 million followers, and we know that the bigger the account, the less reach you have. So, but let's say you have 1 million followers and only 100,000 saw it out of a whole million, they might feel like, I don't know if it was worth all the money, right? So they're looking for the reach.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. Adrian is asking, How do you find the confidence to talk in English on your stories? Since it's your second language, it is a challenge for me.
Oh my God, you wanna laugh? I never spoke in Spanish until one of my Insta friends from Miami was doing it. And I was like, wait a minute, she's doing it. And I bet she feels comfortable. Why can't I? And that's when I started speaking in Spanish and at least writing captions. So if you feel comfortable in Spanish, okay, just be honest with your audience. You're like, say it in Spanish and be like, whatever. Oh, mis amores, I don't feel comfortable, super like comfortable, but I'm gonna try. You tell me how it feels, how you guys like it, because that's also again showing them that you're vulnerable, if that's the word, to receiving feedback and kind of like making it for them. And I noticed that a lot of people then write to me, oh, I don't know what you said, but you look so cute. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll put it in English next time. So if you're comfortable in Spanish, until like you can feel more comfortable in English, do it in Spanish. Just make sure you at least write down what you're saying, because then they're just gonna like skip.
Okay, wonderful. Anna is asking, do you post at the same time of the day consistently?
Not really. It depends. So like on Mondays, I know it's a new week, right? People might be looking for motivation stuff. So I try to post in the morning. You know, even with COVID, I feel like Mondays are Mondays forever. So I do the mornings. On Fridays, I like the midday, because in the afternoon and night, I think people rather watch a movie and play video games than bother with Instagram. So I try to do before noon, I guess, so I can have a whole day to bother people and tell them to like my stuff.
Okay, that's awesome. Melinda is asking, how do you find locations for your photos?
All right, so it depends what you're trying to get out of it. So if you're trying to connect with your local community, and let's say you live in the suburbs, go for the suburbs. They're gonna support you more than the city, because the city is oversaturated. Now, if you're trying to get a brand to find you, you probably wanna go for the city, right? Because then that's where they're looking. But I tell you something interesting. So I used to live in Center City, Philadelphia, right? The center of the city, downtown, let's see. Then I moved to the suburbs, King of Prussia, which is a very big, area, but still it's the suburbs. And funny enough, I was always doing King of Prussia blogger. And there's maybe me and someone else is Annie. It's mainly me, okay? So hello. Anyways, then one of the biggest supermarket chains worked with me because they found me on that hashtag. So don't dismiss where you are, okay? But think of who are you trying to attract out of it, if that makes sense.
Okay, awesome. Let us know if that's what you were asking, Melinda. Okay, Joe, just wanted a refresher. If you could please remind us if you were using, when you're using hashtags, it was 30% big hashtags, 30%, and then 10% the little hashtag. Could you just go through that quickly?
I do 30% that are under 500,000, then 30% under 100,000, 30% that are relatable to the post or local, and then 10% that are small ones, like the smallest. It can be about a product that just came out. It can be about a location that's not very big, or things like that.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you for the refresher. And our last question is from Sarah, and she says, I always get DMs from brands asking me to collab. Do I pay attention to them, or is it a scam?
So you gotta do search. So I know a lot of brands say, oh, you pay the shipping, or oh, you pay this and that. Honestly, in my opinion, if you have to pay for something, it's not a collaboration, because then you end up doing more work than what you're getting. And then you have to think, is it really worth it? And I like, unless it's like a big brand and you want the notoriety and things like that, you can, I guess, just go and buy it, but they're not gonna DM you. So if the brand doesn't look real, like they might have 5 pictures and like, it's something that doesn't relate to you, like you gotta really look, because each is different, but make sure you look into it. Because a lot of big brands do right? Because the PR company just feels comfortable sending a DM. So make sure you search their company, make sure you search who their name is, or go on LinkedIn. Like you wanna, be an investigator.
Definitely. And I think also what you said, if they require you to buy anything, then that's a big red flag. There's a lot of businesses that are trying to get to work with influencers, but what they really are is just trying to get you to buy their products at a discount and promote it for them while you're buying from them as a paying customer. So
Exactly.
so that is something if that's what they're proposing, then no. I would think I would consider that spam, not a real collab. All right, and that we got one more question before, because it's still we'll take this last question and then we'll wrap up. And Taele is asking, as a smaller Instagram, what are the best ways to grow engagement?
As a small Instagram. So you have the leverage that you're small. And this is something I wanted to remember to say, okay? So you know that group of people that's following you or that you're following, after a little while, Instagram is not showing it to them if they're not engaging with your content. So you wanna make sure you reel them back in, and if they have an open account, go and like their picture, or like, because you wanna make sure that they see that you care, right? As a small account, you have the leverage. It's not that maybe that many. And maybe just the ones you follow as well. Like make sure you engage back. And I know it sounds tedious, and I do it anyway. I go and I find people from high school. I'm like, oh, look, and engage back, because sometimes Instagram doesn't show your things. So take that leverage of being small and do that.
I love that. I also feel like at the beginning, when you're a small account, you are just more approachable and you have less scams coming in through your DMs, and you have more time to devote to the people that are following you. And I feel like the more you build relationships with those few followers that you have, the higher engagement you're going to get, and that higher engagement will lead you to show up to more people. So I think really investing into not just having followers, but like true relationships with those few first followers is super important, because they are the ones who are going to be cheerleading for you and like telling people, oh, this is someone who's worth checking out. So definitely, like, those few that are there, like, really shares them. And that was our last question. Thank you so much, Claudia, for taking the time to share all of these secret tips with us. Do you have anything that is upcoming that you'd like to promote, or anything to share with us?
Actually, this year I'm working on just doing YouTube. I've been wanting to do it all this time. I was like, oh, my video is not good enough, and doing all the excuses in the world. So if you guys are ever around YouTube, make sure you just go by and subscribe. I'm working on good content for you guys.
Perfect. You should share your YouTube link in our chat so we can click and follow you. I'll make sure to share, check it out from the Blogger Union YouTube channel. But thank you. And thank you so much, Roxy, for joining us as a co-moderator, and for just coming up with this topic in general.
Thank you so much, Paula. And thank you, Claudia, for answering the questions.
Thanks for all the great questions.
Wonderful. So, and thank you everyone for joining us today. We had a packed house. And our next webinar is November 10th, and it's going to be all about learning how to take the Insta-worthy pictures that we want just by ourselves using a tripod. So I hope you guys join us for that webinar. And that was it for today. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.
I'll make sure to follow you, so drop your handle on the comments, please.
Oh, yes. And if you want to download the chat so that you can make sure you didn't miss anybody, to follow those 3 little dots at the bottom of the chat, let you save the chat. And that way, nobody misses out. Everybody that's sharing their handle. I'm sharing it there too. Oops, I shared it just with Marsha. Yay! All right. So thank you, everyone. Don't forget to save the chat, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.